Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 34 of Cinema Rogues. As always, I'm joined by Andrew.
That's me.
As usual, I am myself. I don't know where I
That's
went
you.
with that, but I guess if you want to see more Andrew, go check out Board Game Barbarians. If you want to see more me, check out Sidetail Studios. And as always, check out Retro Warriors.
Yeah. Go do those things right now.
Right now. Let's see, off-topic stuff that we've seen since the last episode. I watched Ted Lasso.
Me too.
All caught up on that one.
Every week, gotta watch it.
Yeah, dude, this episode was rough. It was hard to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of how many times you got rickrolled?
Yeah, because how many times it got rickrolled.
Yeah, me too.
That was unexpectedly emotional, I suppose. But anyway, I watched some Community, Andrew. I finally decided to try and get back into that.
Oh.
But it's been so long since I've watched Community that Hulu has forgotten that I've watched Community.
Yeah.
So I had to go figure out where I was, and apparently I left off on the Christmas episode where they are like claymation.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I picked up. So I watched that episode and the one where they were trying out new people for the group.
Okay. Yep.
It's good stuff. I don't know. I for some reason thought you would have more to say about those episodes than me.
Oh, I mean, I don't know, man. I've seen that show so many times. The Abed Christmas episode, the claymation episode, is not one of my favorites.
Yeah, it wasn't amazing.
I much prefer there's the Christmas episode where they're in Glee. That is a much more enjoyable, funny episode.
All right. Well, then I'm looking forward to getting through that. I didn't put it on here. We started watching that show with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon.
The morning show?
Yeah, the morning show.
Yeah, how's that?
We've watched it. It's good. We've watched a few episodes of it so far. It's really, really engaging.
It's good. I haven't really watched much of the offerings of Apple TV Plus, like the morning show or C, I think is the other big one. I don't know. C looks really dumb to me. Schmigadoon was really good.
Oh yeah. My girlfriend's really into that one. We watched the TV in the bedroom on an Apple TV, so we are like inundated with their like, please watch this show every time a new one comes out.
Yeah.
So we watched that. We watched the first episode of Foundation, and I was super excited about that, and it's really good. It's really different from the book. There are a lot of things that are significantly different, but I don't think that in a way that like detracts from the overall story.
That's good.
Yeah, they seem to have been like, edits that enhance the story, right? And they're kind of going their own direction with it, which seems neat.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't really know a whole lot about the Foundation as a like book series, but I was interested in the TV show. But
yeah. Well, and I mean the overall setup of the book series is that they this guy invented what he calls like psychohistory.
Okay.
Which basically applies mathematics to I guess sociological behavior.
Okay.
And so he uses mathematical constructs to so I guess predict the future more or less of what society is going to do, and it's in this age of this galactic empire, and he basically predicts the fall of the empire, and like the books take place, like the first book takes place over the course of like 300 years.
Oh, geez.
right? So it kind of like it has a chunk and then it skips like 50 years and then has another chunk of story, et cetera, that kind of lays out, what happens and how it falls within his predictions and stuff like that.
Man, it's nuts.
Yeah. But anyway, so what have you been watching?
I've been watching a lot of Kitchen Nightmares. Just been getting down with the Kitchen Nightmares. I do love that show.
Did you get inspired by Talking Wizards?
I brought it up on Talking Wizards.
Oh, okay. So it was the other way around.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I watched a movie called The Mortuary Collection, which stars Clancy Brown and a couple other people.
Nice.
And it's just like a little like horror vignette. Like there's a bunch of different like short stories. And it was pretty okay. Like nothing really I bought it for like $5, so I would say it's probably worth that. If you're paying more than that, then probably not. But I think it originated from, is it Shudder, the horror streaming service?
I think that's right.
I believe it originated from Shudder. But there is a scene where a guy gets pregnant with a monster and it comes out of his penis and his dick explodes like a joke cigar. And that was pretty funny.
That sounds pretty brutal.
Yeah. And then I watched Need for Speed. What a great terrible movie that is.
That's Jesse Pinkman again?
Yeah, did I mention this last time? I might have mentioned it last episode.
You might have, although I feel like he was in several car movies in a short span.
No, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it last because you said Jesse Pinkman last time too.
Oh, all right then.
Well, then I haven't watched much of anything else because I don't know. Been
all right. Well, then let's do news.
Watching too many Kitchen Nightmares episodes, I guess.
Dude, I get that same way too, where like I'll get into a show and just watch like 20, 30 episodes of it, like, and then forget that there are other things that I could watch.
Yeah.
Anyway, news. Clifford the Big Red Dog to release in theaters and Paramount Plus on November 10th.
God, that looks terrible.
It does look terrible, but I want to see it. I don't know why. I mainly put it in the news because it's an example of, I think we're in a sort of transitionary period again where some stuff's going to release same day streaming and other stuff they're going to do theatrical. And I just kind of wanted to keep tabs on the things that are doing, what, right?
Right. Well, I guess, so I renewed my HBO Max as a yearly subscription because there's a discount right now. And they have two different services now. One where you don't get same day movie releases as in theaters, and a higher tier where you do get same day movie releases in theaters. So I'm wondering if they're going that route where you can pay less and not get the movie releases, but still get HBO Max, or pay a little bit more and get them.
Well, let me know. Like that sounds interesting. I think personally I would still pay for same day releases just because I don't want to go to theaters per se.
Yeah, that's what I did. So so I paid for the more expensive one.
Nice. Star Wars Andor has wrapped filming. So that's neat, I guess. I don't know.
I have not been paying attention to what that is.
It's I guess a prequel. It's a spinoff from Rogue One.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
With that main guy. I forgot the actor's name.
Yeah.
But I assume that it's a prequel because he's pretty dead otherwise. So
is that Pedro Pascal?
No, it is the other.
Because he's the Mandalorian.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal's the Mandalorian. His name, he's a Hispanic guy. I cannot remember his name.
Let me see.
Diego Luna.
Oh, okay.
That's his name. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping they have Alan Tudyk as the robot again.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Like, I hope part of that series is how they met or whatnot. Be great. I think he did Alan Tudyk is like one of the best voiceover guys that is in the game at the moment.
He went to Juilliard.
Bark, bark.
I'm glad you got my reference.
You can buy the Conjuring house for $1.2 million.
Oh
Andrew.
boy, the actual house or the one they filmed in, or
yeah, the actual house. The one, I guess the Conjuring is based on a real story, right?
Right. It is.
Yeah, so I guess it's the one that the whatever you call them, not ghost hunters, but
the ghost hunters.
The medium and her husband were in.
Well, that's nice, I guess. I don't think I would ever go there or live in a house.
Well, you don't want to buy a haunted house?
No, not for $1.2 million. I think that's a little bit out of my...
If it's the price, then
I'd have to go in with a couple other... How many rooms is it? Is it like 8 bedrooms? Can I go in it with 8 other people?
Probably. Yeah, I mean, then it's only, like a few $100,000 each.
Yeah, that'd be great. I can.
Then you just got to deal with roommates forever.
But you got to deal with ghosts anyway. So maybe some of the ghosts will take care of your roommates, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you just got to make sure they pay their portion first, right?
That's true. Yeah, you gotta get that payment.
I don't even know how a lien would work in that situation.
I don't either. Nope. Not in a haunted house situation.
The ghosts have a lien on the house. That's what it is.
Okay. Well, can they pay the rent?
Oh, hopefully with ghost money though, so it disappears.
Oh, shit. That's garbage.
Shang-Chi is number 1 for the 4th straight week.
Nice. I still need to go see. I keep forgetting to go see that.
Yeah, I have to. I want to go see it too. Part of me wants to wait for it to come on regular Disney Plus. I'm really torn, but I think
it's gonna be a while.
I want to get back in the theater to go see Dune anyway. So
yeah, that one's gonna have to be might be an IMAX movie for me.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about that movie. Although I am kind of bummed because I feel like once they come out with like the 2nd and 3rd Dune movies, the character of Scytale is going to show up and people are going to start stealing my name.
Yep.
Yeah.
They will.
It's going to be a thing.
They will steal it.
Super Mario Brothers cast was announced in a Nintendo Direct.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I thought we could run through that list there. Playing Mario is going to be Chris Pratt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about this cast. Like I don't know. I guess it depends on how like stereotypical Italian Chris Pratt and Charlie Day are going to be. Right?
I feel like they're not going to be at all. I feel like they're going to be themselves.
I hope so. Honestly, I think that's a safer direction.
Yeah, I think Jack Black is going to be trying to pose as a lizard monster, though. That might be a little problematic.
But Charlie Day is playing Luigi. Anya Taylor-Joy is playing Princess Peach. Jack Black is going to be Bowser, in case you didn't get the lizard reference.
Or I guess he's a turtle monster?
Turtle dragon.
Turtle dragon.
That's what we decided in our house. Seth Rogen is going to be Donkey Kong.
It's weird that Donkey Kong is going to talk.
That is kind of weird now that you mention it. I didn't think about that till just now. I think it's also weird that Fred Armisen is going to be Cranky Kong.
Yeah, that is also weird.
And then, do you think Keegan-Michael Key is going to do like Toad voice, or is he going to do his own voice?
He's going to do his own voice too.
You think?
Guarantee it.
He's not going to be like, "Hey guys, I'm Toad."
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be like, "Hi, it's me, Toad." I don't think he's going to be doing that business. He's not going to do that.
It ruins his voice like Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
For this fucking role.
You know, he's not going to be doing the Toad voice, I don't think.
Maybe they'll get Jordan Peele to do Toadette.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Get those two crazy cats back together. All right. I think we've bullshed around long enough.
Bullshed. Is that
Bullshed.
bullshed around?
It's a new term. I'm trying it out. See how it goes. So today's topic is news from the world, or news of the world, starring Tom Hanks
Tom
and
Spanks.
Helena Zengel. What?
It's a Tom Spanks.
Tom Spanks. He's no Chris Pratt.
He is no Chris Pratt.
I don't know. I can't not call him Chris Pratt anymore. It happens. Anyway.
Sounds like a Simpsons bit that Bart would do whenever he calls into Moe's Tavern.
I'm Hugh Jazz. After finding a young girl alone, Tom Hanks discovers she was kidnapped by the Kiowa as a young child and is being transported back to the only remaining family, I guess white family, that she has down around San Antonio. Released on Christmas Day 2020. In the development, there's not much to tell. It's pretty straightforward and normal development. The only sort of issues that they ran into were around distribution time, because when it was getting ready to be distributed, it was or Disney bought Fox, and they said that Disney said that they were only going to continue to produce Fox movies under the Fox brand if they were in production already and were being produced by the Fox studio proper.
Okay.
And since this was supposed to be distributed by Fox 2000, it was on the chopping block. So they reshopped it around to different distributors and landed at Universal.
Okay, so that's why it's on HBO Max.
Yes. As a kind of long path to get there, but
You did it.
Did it. Directed by Paul Greengrass, screenplay by Paul Greengrass and Luke Davies, based on the novel News of the World by Paulette Giles. As we mentioned, starring Tom Hanks and Helena Zengel. It was nominated for 4 Academy Awards this year: Best Cinematography, Best Original Score, Best Production Design, and Best Sound. It won none of them.
Oof.
But,
It sucks.
being nominated is an honor.
Still sucks.
It didn't get nominated for Best Picture,
or Best Actor or any of that.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was pretty, and the score was good.
Yeah, it was shot really well. I would say that for sure. A cinematography nomination was definitely warranted.
Yep. On Rotten Tomatoes, 88% reviewer, 89% audience. Metacritic, 73% reviewer, 6.8 on the user side, and then IMDb, 6.8.
It seems low.
It does, especially after the Rotten Tomato scores.
Right? It just, I don't know. I would, I don't know if we want to actually give our own review. I don't know. This was a good movie.
Yeah. Go ahead, give your own little review.
My own little review. I don't know. I haven't written anything out, so.
Oh.
I found it hard to write anything while I was watching the movie, just because I couldn't, there weren't any, and this is a good thing, there weren't any plot holes, anything like that, to kind of talk about in our spoiler zone. I mean, I think this was a solid from everything that it was, as far as cinematography, sound design, acting, directing. I'd give this a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. It's not the most action-packed movie or anything like that, but it's definitely a comprehensive and compelling story.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's a solid movie. I don't know. It's been a while since we've done a movie that was I don't know, an Oscar contender, right? Something that was built. It feels like it was built from the ground up to be a sort of dramatic Oscar movie.
Right. It felt like Oscar bait, 100%.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's hard to describe, right? Because like you said, I mean, it was really good. But it's so well done that it's the subtle things in the movie that make it really good. And it's hard to talk about those without talking about spoilers, but, there's a lot of authenticity to it. There was a lot of, I don't even know how to describe it.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's hard to,
I don't know. I guess there are a lot of subtle things that we'll talk about later after the spoiler section, that helped lend sort of believability to the world, and really, was nothing was like anachronistic. It takes place in the Civil War, so there are a lot of, I suppose, attitudes and cultural things that are out of place today, but made sense back then, right?
Yeah. Also takes place in Texas.
And it takes place in Texas, which is part of some of the problem that I had with it, because it takes place on the road from, well, it's not like a real road, but an 1870s road from Wichita Falls down to San Antonio, right? So they go like right through Dallas, like right through the DFW area, past Austin, etc.
Yeah, there was definitely some geographical issues with the movie.
Yeah. There were a lot of mountains and plateaus.
Yeah.
In the flattest part of the state, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my nitpick of the movie, was that, living in the area that the movie is in, like,
well, that's just how much the landscape has changed in 200 years.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's only been 120 years or 150 years.
I guess.
Yeah,
So.
That wasn't that long ago. But yeah, no, I thought it was really good. It's a feel good film at the end of the day. I would say there wasn't anything really unexpected about it. Like, it's a very straightforward plot. The things that seemed like they were going to happen happened, that sort of thing. And really the movie is about these two characters, Captain Kidd and Johanna, and their relationship and the growth of it through the movie. And I don't know, it's just really well done and really well acted.
Yep. I would say if you like story driven movies, then definitely up your alley and should watch it. And it's worth a watch on HBO if you have it. And if you don't have it, I don't know if I'd pay full price for it, but definitely if it's on HBO Max and you've got it, I would watch it.
Yeah, you can watch it for free on HBO Max, and then it's available on all kinds of digital distribution platforms and physical, for that matter.
Yep.
So there's plenty of ways to go about seeing it, and I'm sure at some point it'll be like super cheap for renting and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yep.
I don't know. It's just.
I'm sorry. I listened to that episode of Talking Wizards today.
Oh yeah.
I laughed for a long time about the yip thing. Anyway, let's get into spoilers.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Spoiler zone.
Spoiler zone.
I don't know why. The one thing I do have, I wasn't, for some reason I wasn't expecting how much for the little girl scene. Like, that was kind of unexpected for me. I mean, you see it.
The what? There's
the scene in the movie where they're, and I'm doing the, like, how much for the little girl, but
right. That was the part I didn't get about what you said. Yeah. That kind of came out of nowhere and was disturbing.
Like, I saw it coming whenever the dude starts, like, staring at her. I was just like, okay, gross, and this is about to happen. And then I wasn't expecting them to, like, chase them down and try to kill them, like, for her.
Dude, that whole scene was nuts, right? Like, it was like super tense.
Oh yeah.
I think that may have been my favorite part of the movie, just because of like how tense it was.
Yeah. You're not really sure kind of what's going to happen. I mean, you figure that there's an hour left in the movie, so, you know, he's got to survive because Tom Hanks doesn't really die in movies that he's in. So that
Died in Saving Private Ryan.
okay. When was the last movie besides that one where he died?
Big.
Yeah, he died big.
He stopped being big.
That's true. He did. I mean, you could say he dies in every movie if you just say that he dies right at the end when the credits start rolling.
Into Forrest Gump, he just keels over.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where like the tension isn't really there just because I know the actor doesn't really die in his movies. But I mean, still a very tense scene. Overall, I don't know.
I did like how they showed the effect of like the added recoil of the gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they loaded the shells full of like dimes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know, like with him, it clearly like knocked him, like it was more impactful than when he was shooting birdshot out of it.
Right.
And then when she shot it, it almost like knocked her on her ass.
Yeah, what a smart move that was.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I don't know. I don't know enough about like shotgun shells, basically, to know if you can stuff them full of, you know, like coins and they still work or whatnot. But seemed credible.
I figure you can stuff them with whatever you want, as long as there's the gunpowder section in the back that propels them forward.
Yeah, it's probably true. I should learn more about guns, I guess, before I talk.
I mean, I don't really know that much about guns anyway. You know, just like Civil War era, I would assume the pistol that he had would have been more accurate.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just not a great shot with the pistol.
Yeah, I mean, he was, you know, ducking and covering, and I think we've gotten a bit used to how pistol accuracy works in action movies.
Yeah. I will say this, like at the beginning of the movie, I had to look up how old Tom Hanks was, because for some reason in my head, like he's older than he is.
Wow. How old is he?
He's 65.
That's pretty old. Well, I guess it's not that old.
I mean, no, it's not that old. Like, growing up with him, like starting in Toy Story and stuff, I just assumed he, you know, was like in his 70s, but I guess not.
Well, he'll be there soon. It's
yeah.
fine. He's got like 5 more years.
Yeah, 5 more years, then he's in his 70s. So I don't know. I thought he was pretty spry for a 65-year-old, but also not that old, and he's got Hollywood money, so he can keep in shape.
You know who seems spry for their age? Fucking William Shatner.
Really?
That dude's like 92.
Yeah, I guess he's still around. It's always I'm always kind of surprised that he's still around.
And he's still like engaged in like active social media.
Engaged.
And, you know,
I got it.
Like social media appearances and shit. So like, I don't know, whatever. I don't remember where I was going with that, other than just say that William Shatner's old as shit.
He is old as shit.
I like the news reading aspect of things. Like that's where the name of the movie comes from, News of the World. I enjoy the sort of different spins that Captain Kidd put on the different stories. And then especially how he used the story of the mine collapse or whatever in Pennsylvania to rile up the crowd to get himself out of the mess in Erath County or whatever.
Well, it kind of got him into a bigger mess in Erath County, but
I guess, but it inspired that one kid to shoot whatever the leader guy's name was.
yeah, I think he was more doing it to try to overthrow the shitty leader guy.
Yeah.
But
Which, you know, I mean, it kind of speaks to the power of the spoken word and you know, when you speak truth to masses, you know what it can do.
I did have like a fundamental problem with this movie.
What's that?
In that Tom Hanks is like playing the nicest person that probably existed in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
In the fact that I don't think there's a lot of people that would, without payment, transport a child across an entire state for free to their family just because they didn't want to wait 3 months for somebody else to do it. Like,
yeah,
especially with how like her family reacts to her. Like, she's an obvious burden to like to get, not to jump to the end, but she's an obvious burden to that family because they don't understand her or how she speaks or any of that. And like their reaction is far worse than his reaction whenever he found her. Like, I feel like most people, I don't know anyone in that time period or haven't read a shit ton of books about that time period, but from media, like, people weren't necessarily super kind-hearted at that time or not, you know, self-absorbed.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of set that up with the way that he reacted to that black man being hung, right?
Right. He was very sympathetic to that situation.
Yeah, and you know, he was when he ran into the Union soldiers, he was very I don't know the right word, but he reacted to the Union soldiers and told them the story, and seemed to be, you know, empathetic.
I feel like he was just too kind. Like, I feel like it'd be more believable if he was expecting a payout at the end and then declined it because of the experience of the journey. But because, like, from the get-go, he's like, I'm not getting paid for this, but I'm going to do it anyway. It felt not genuine, I guess.
Yeah. You know, I mean, he did have the sort of clock of he needed to work and he had to travel. And I guess he felt responsible for her for some reason.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that's the thing.
The first couple days.
They don't really like explain why he felt responsible for it. Like, it was one of those things where, like, okay, like, if he had previously had a daughter and she died in some way, and he's like, well, now I understand what it means to have a daughter, and she's someone's daughter, so I need to take care of her. Like, that would have made sense, but he has no children of his own. So it's just like, I guess that's just the one aspect of this movie, or sort of a plot hole, where I don't understand where his generosity is coming from.
It's because he, you know what, it almost sounds like they were just banking on it because it's Tom Hanks. You'll believe it.
Well, and that's why I believe it. But I feel like that's a lazy reason for me to believe that the character is generous and the character is kind, is because it's Tom Hanks. We shouldn't really feel that way because it's Tom Hanks. We should feel that way because it's explained in the story.
Yeah, no, I get that. You know, there were a couple of things about Captain Kidd that seemed very period authentic, right? Like the fact that he learned what her Kiowa name was. Like, he learned that it was Cicada pretty early on in the movie.
And he was like, nope, it's not.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm going to call her Johanna. That's her, you know, I guess from his perspective, that's her given name or whatever, but also it's her civilized name, right?
Right, it's her white name.
Yeah, I didn't want to say white name for some reason, but whatever. Like, yeah, it is. And from his character's perspective, there is no really question about returning her to the Kiowa, even though that's clearly like what she wants. He's like, no, they're, quote unquote savages or whatnot.
I mean,
And
he never addressed, or it's never really addressed that he feels that way specifically. It's
well, sure, but
it's never
if
addressed
he didn't,
how he feels about Native Americans to begin with.
yeah. But if he didn't feel on some level, like, I guess the easy thing to have done since they were traveling through Kiowa country
Was just hand
would
her
be
off.
to just, yeah, it's just hand her off. But he didn't do that. He was like doggedly determined to get her to her white family.
Yeah, I guess that's a
And-
slightly like racist aspect of this movie is, and not like that the movie is racist, but that his character, although sympathetic to racial issues, still is technically racist because he won't take her to where she wants to go.
Right. And even the scene in the dust storm, which was pretty intense in and of itself. But just the, where like she ran into the Kiowa tribe that was traveling, and he was trying to get her to come back for a second, and then he just kind of seemed resigned to the fact that she was going to leave with them, and he seemed, kind of at peace with it or whatever. But through the course of the movie, that if that had been the ending, it would have felt earned because they got to know each other, and he sort of knows what she wanted, and at the end of the day, if her getting back into a Kiowa family is an accident or something that he couldn't prevent, then he seemed kind of fine with it,
Yeah, I didn't really read that scene as she was going to leave with them. I didn't really.
Oh, see, I felt like his character was surprised when she came back with a horse, right? Like it looked like he was expecting her to, since she found these Kiowa, he expected her to go off with them because that's what she had been trying to do the entire movie.
I think by that point they had been through enough that I expected them to stay together for like. I feel like the end of the movie was pretty telling. And I didn't expect her to leave with the rest of the Kiowa, but I didn't really know what I expected, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't expecting that, but I don't know what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I thought maybe that she would tell them that he needed help or whatever, and they'd all go like looking for him or something.
Right.
Or I was prepared for them to just like, kill her because she was white, and then that'd be some sort of like tragic turn to this movie. And I think that's what I ultimately ended up enjoying about the movie is they didn't go any kind of tragic route, right?
I mean, besides the tragic events that they were dealing with on the road.
Yeah. Yeah. They had like their trials that they had to overcome or whatnot. But at the end of the day, nothing happened to either of the main characters. And they ended up, together as father and daughter, reading the news together or I guess sort of play acting it out too, to a certain extent.
Yeah. Agreed.
He had his personal tragedy with his wife that died. I think it was cholera, like killed her while he was away at war.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. When he was in Dallas, and the hotel lady was like, after they slept together or whatnot, was like, when are you going to go back home and make it right? Like at that point, I thought he was, and I assume that's how the movie was set up, but I thought he was like just like cheating on his wife, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I expected that he was cheating on his wife, or I guess that's the impression that they wanted to give. So I didn't really think that his wife was dead.
Yeah,
but I don't know what I expected to think of. I also thought it was the time period, like. He's a traveling man in that time period. I wouldn't really, expect him to be faithful.
Right. Yeah. And then he's been away for, I think it was like 4 years at that point.
Right. So I would assume they've basically been separated at that point.
Yeah. So, and I was confused when he first got back and he's like walking through an empty house. I was like, oh, did she leave him? Like, what's going on?
Oh, I assume she died at that point.
But then you come to find out that she died in the middle of the Civil War. Like,
yeah, that was unexpected. Was that she died whenever he was there, and it's also not really like explained when. I guess. Well, how do they ever actually explain how long after the Civil War the movie takes place?
I think it took place in 1877.
Okay.
I am not mistaken.
So he was just an old dude in the war.
Yeah, he was just an old dude in the war. 1870 is when it takes place.
Okay.
Excuse me. So yeah, the war ended in like 1860 something.
Gonna make me look it up because I don't know my U.S. history that well.
I'm pretty sure it ended in 1865. 1865.
Yep. 1861 to 1865.
Yeah, I mean, she'd been dead for a bit at that point, right? It's been like 5-6 years at least.
Yep.
Which, the house is in good shape for being empty for 5 or 6 years.
I was kind of surprised, and I don't really know the layout of San Antonio that well, especially for that time period, that they didn't show the Alamo at all.
Yeah. I thought maybe they were gonna show it at one point. Like, it seemed like when he was walking through, there was a mission there, but I don't know.
It definitely wasn't the Alamo.
Right. Yeah. I did like Old Timey Dallas. That was kind of neat.
Yeah, the old timey towns were pretty cool. I liked the scenes where he's reading news to the towns. I liked the scene where the people got like really upset, and he kind of felt that it was upon him, like he took it upon himself to calm down the people, which was a little bit, I mean, you expect him to say something because he's the one that kind of sort of riled them up, but at the same time, it's not his fault that they're having this reaction to the news that's being provided to them.
Yeah, like my only problem with like Old Timey Dallas was that there was no river. Right, like Dallas is on the Trinity River. Like that's why it exists.
Well, Old Timey Dallas is super far away from the.
Yeah, that makes. I think the further back you go in the history of Dallas, the closer to the river Dallas, proper has got to be.
Well, you can say the same thing about when were the canals? Weren't the canals like part of San Antonio? Like, wasn't that a river?
Yeah. That's
so wouldn't there be?
I don't know the name of the river.
Wouldn't there be a river in San Antonio also? Whenever he goes there,
right? And I don't know. Again, I have problems with
the landscaping with it
because it's not Texas.
The landscaping of Texas in this movie is the same issue that I have with any movie that takes place in Texas. Like, it's like they went out and they filmed it in like the Big Bend location the entire time. And they were like, "This is Texas," and it's like, "No, you're in a different part, and that's not the part that you're in."
For any of our listeners who don't know, Texas has like 5 different like climate zones. Yeah, like we've got a forest zone, we've got a Gulf Coast zone, we've got mountains. Not like mountains.
You got desert. Like, you got in the winter snowy area, plateau. I mean, Lubbock is just on a giant plateau.
Is it? I've never been to Lubbock.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible. Don't ever go. Yeah, you can skip that one. Like, it's enough of a plateau that your ears pop whenever you drive up there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Or at least mine did. So maybe I just have weak ears, weak altitude ears.
Your weak Andrew ears.
Weak Andrew altitude ears. But yeah, so like Texas has so many different like zones, and the road that they're going to from basically Wichita Falls to San Antonio is a flat route. Like there's some hilly areas in Austin, but not like they're also by a river, which they didn't go through or across.
Like all in this movie in the background, you see a bunch of like mesas, plateaus, and you know, I guess desert mountains. Right?
There's one
like foothills type situation.
There's one river like towards the beginning of the movie, and then you don't really see one after that.
Yeah, and I don't know where that river was supposed to be.
I also don't know,
but whatever.
I didn't pay attention enough, I guess.
Yeah, good movie, bad geography.
Yeah.
So
if you live in Texas, you might have an issue with this movie.
I had an issue with Tom Hanks's Texas accent. It didn't exist.
Did he have an accent? It just sounded like Tom Hanks to me.
Right. Yeah, that was my problem.
Oh, okay.
The dude's from San Antonio.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? He doesn't really change his voice for movies.
Well, I mean,
I guess
he did in Forrest Gump.
Yeah, Forrest Gump is like the one movie that I can think of where he changed his voice. And then other than that, I can't really think of any movies where he's like seriously changed his accent.
On the IMDb trivia, it says this is Tom Hanks's first Western movie that he's ever been in. Although he did play a cowboy in Toy Story.
What a dumb thing to say, IMDb. Oh my god.
It made me laugh pretty good. The last thing that I want to say about the movie was I thought that dude that they picked up in Erath County was gonna like turn on them.
Really?
Yeah.
I felt like he was a good old boy, like simpleton in I didn't expect him to like do anything other than like, I guess like whenever he was in their cart with them, I was like, I guess he's in the rest of the movie now. Like I just resigned myself to that guy being there, and I'm like, this is gonna not be great, but he's there, I guess.
Yeah, no, for some reason I thought he was like just kind of playing dumb and like he was gonna turn around and like rob them as soon as they got out of town. Because he like when he started being reluctant, wanting to leave them or whatnot. That's when I thought he was going to turn, and then he just handed over his gun and was like, "Be safe."
No, I felt like the exchange that they had whenever like he first is talking to him and asking him about family and stuff like that solidified to me like that guy's personality, which felt just like a genuine, you know, simpleton basically, or just genuine like trying to be a nice person.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true.
So he didn't.
Maybe it's just like the cynic in me that just is waiting for this movie to turn dark, and it never did, which is great, right? Like it had its own again story-driven sort of situational darkness,
right?
But the overall tone of the movie, you know, it never went. Like full dark, I guess.
Like if the guy that was there that told him to keep his mouth shut had joined them on the road, then yeah, I would have been like, that guy's gonna fucking turn on him any minute. Like the right hand man of the mayor or whatever.
Yeah,
I would have.
Yeah, I'm glad he got shot too.
Yeah. That's good.
Ooh, you got any final thoughts? Last little tidbits?
I mean, you basically hit it all, and I've kind of trying to think of anything else about this movie. I watched it literally right before we did the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to not, because I watched Suicide Squad like 2 weeks before we did the show.
Yeah,
and then I forgot everything about it. So I'm trying to do like keep it fresh in my mind, like watch it right beforehand. And I think, I don't know, this movie was just a solid movie besides the few issues that we've had with it. And I can't really think of anything else that that I had an issue with. I do think that he could have just given her to her people, like, at the very beginning of the movie.
Right. Yeah, it would have been a real short movie, but
yeah, it would have been a short movie, but she would have been probably happy.
Yeah, and I guess maybe that's why I thought she was going to go off with them, because from the beginning of the movie that seemed like the obvious solution, and so maybe I was kind of waiting for the movie to, go the long way around to it, so that I could be mad that they didn't just do that at the beginning and save themselves 40 minutes.
I feel like that point they both bonded to the point to where, I guess we haven't really talked about the end, so we'll talk about the end, where he goes back and he goes back to the German farm and takes her and to raise her as his own.
Right, like she's tied up by one foot because she keeps running away.
Yeah. And whenever he left her with the German family, I was like, well, this isn't going to end well. Because the German dad definitely looks like he's very farm-oriented.
Yeah, he's like, could she work?
Yeah, we need the extra hands. And there's going to be no time for stories. And I didn't think that was going to end well. I didn't actually kind of expect him to go back for her, so that was a surprise. But I don't know what I was really expecting from the end of this movie. I thought he'd go back to San Antonio and make amends with his wife, and then that would be it. Or maybe he would come back for her and bring her back to his wife. I don't know. It was definitely a weird ending, but a good ending.
Yeah, I mean, it's heartwarming. It felt good. As soon as he rode back up, you knew that she was going to leave with him, and then, again, they had that sort of final scene where they're reading the news together, and it's, it just kind of left you with a warm, fuzzy feeling at the end of this like long, enjoyable movie.
I like when he shows up that the German guy like grabs his gun. Like there's gonna be be trouble, but then they give him no trouble whatsoever. Like there's no pushback at all. Like they're just like, yeah, take her. Like she's a burden.
Yeah, it almost seemed like he grabbed the gun, so that Tom Hanks wouldn't attack him for tying her up.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about it that way. I thought he was grabbing the gun because he was like, well, this is if there's gonna be trouble if he tries to take the lady.
Right.
But yeah, it was kind of weird that the family, like her own family, her own flesh and blood was like, yeah, whatever. Like they're just like, just take her.
Yeah, but I mean, they also kind of distanced themselves from her parents, right? Because she was like, well, they're dumb and went off into hill country on their own. We told them not to.
Yeah. But
they had cheap land out there or whatever.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So, I mean, it doesn't seem like and like you said, when they first showed up, you could tell that she was going to be a burden to them. It's just like their lives would have been better if she had never been brought there, right?
Right. If Tom Hanks had just been like, nah, I'm just going to keep her.
Yeah.
I'll just adopt her and she'll be my daughter.
Yeah, everybody, it seems like it worked out the best for everybody in that situation.
Agreed.
All right. Well, if you want to watch the movie and you haven't, and somehow you're at the end of this episode, go
somehow.
Well, I mean, I assume
I would always say, and this is kind of always my opinion, instead of renting the movie, pay a little bit extra and buy a month's worth of HBO Max because there's other stuff on there. We're not sponsored by them at all, but it just makes more sense to not pay $5, like pay $10 for a subscription that you can watch other shit on instead of spending the $5 to rent the movie. I don't know if you go on iTunes that often to look at movie prices.
No, not usually.
So a lot of times they'll have $5 movies, like they'll have like $5 or $10 movies that are on sale.
Yeah,
and the rental cost is like $3.99, but the price to buy it is like $4.99. And yeah. I'm like, so often I'm just like, why wouldn't you just buy the movie? Like, even if you don't like it, spend the extra $1 and buy the movie instead of renting it and having it for however long you have it for I don't know. So the same kind of thing. If it just makes more sense to get like a month subscription to it, and even if you don't want to keep it or don't like it, cancel it afterwards. But I don't know. That's my rant on services.
Yeah, I mean, I was at a point when I first got a 4K Blu-ray player where I was just buying movies on 4K, like whatever was new out that week.
Yeah.
It was like, yep, I'm going to buy this because it's in 4K.
Yeah. I don't really do that anymore. I did very, very similar thing to that. So don't feel alone, because I also did it. I also got the Netflix 4K subscription, and then after a while was like, I don't really need it to be in 4K. So I downgraded my Netflix subscription.
Nice. I may end up doing that too. I don't know. We'll see. After I get moved, we'll see, I guess.
We'll see.
At that point, I'll probably be watching more movies on the 4K TV. Right now that we have like a 1080p TV in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about my privileged life. Let's talk about next time. We're gonna watch Promising Young Woman.
Yeah. Finally is on a streaming service.
Yeah.
It was also an Academy nominated. I think it won some awards.
Oh, did it? Nice. I'm looking forward to it more. I'd heard good things about it, and the cast seems like stellar.
Yeah, cast looks really good. It was nominated for Best Picture. I don't think it won Best Picture. I don't remember what did. But
we'll find out next episode.
We will. All right.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time. I was going to say, and as always, but I don't have it as always. So
as always, let us watch the movies, Cinnamon Rolls.
Bazinga.
Yeah. All right.
Bye. Bye.